Former WWE superstar Matt Riddle has called CM Punk a creep and says that he thinks Punk hangs around the NXT locker room a little bit too much. Riddle also had disparaging comments about CM Punk's wife AJ Lee in this explosive interview. We'll let you know what he had to say and the reaction to it in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and let's begin with Matt Riddle. Now, of course, Riddle being in the headlines over the weekend for apparently no-showing a show in the UK, but Riddle has had a lot to say about his wrestling colleagues, CM Punk and AJ Lee, including some wild accusations about both. Speaking to TMZ, Riddle was asked about his feelings on the recent reports on AJ Lee's alleged WWE return. Riddle said he has no real problems with Lee, but did say that Lee used to, quote, get around. He then alleged that she was hooking up with various WWE superstars in the past. He said, quote, I mean, to be fair, and I'm not one to talk, I'm a little slutty myself, but she did go get around from what I heard, said Riddle, but no disrespect to that. Now, Riddle then went on to talk about AJ Lee's husband, CM Punk. He said, quote, I have no ill will towards CM Punk. He's a nice enough guy, and you agree with it, but I don't. I think he's fake, and I think he's a creep, and that's coming from me, and people think I'm a creep, and I haven't done anything wrong. Now, the co-host on the TMZ show asked how CM Punk is a creep, and Riddle responded, quote, I don't know. I feel like he's just lingering around the NXT locker room a little too much, you know? Now, Riddle also had a lot of other things to say over the last few days pertaining to the allegations that he no-showed over the weekend. On Wednesday morning, Cultaholic reported that Matt Riddle no-showed his booking for Global Wrestling Kingdom in the UK and did not return his deposit. The show was reportedly a charity show. Riddle was scheduled to face Simon Miller. On his Instagram, Riddle addressed the claims made by GWK. He said, quote, I'm going to make this quick. GWK, the reason I didn't go is because you booked me a flight for Thursday for a show that was happening Sunday, and you said you were booking me meet and greets, other matches, and appearances. You did none of that. I had nothing scheduled, and I was going to sit in a hotel room for 2 days in London. I told you multiple times I can't do that or wouldn't do that. And I got to work for Friday and Saturday and Thursday. I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I told you I would fly to London on Saturday evening. You said you pay for it. I go, no, you pay for it. Take it out of my pay, whatever. You guys refused. So I flew to Miami and wrestled there. I never said I wouldn't pay you guys back. That's a lie. Also, this show wasn't a charity event. That's a lie. That was a last-second change. You also booked me the worst flight in history, bro. Middle seat, no meal, no check bag. GWK, this is probably your last run. Now, in a follow-up video, Riddle had a lot of expletives to say about this whole situation. He said, quote, you know, I can't explain everything in great detail. I'm not lying, but I really don't give an F anymore. Most of you MFers are dumb effing Cs, just like when you believe that Me Too bullshit or the other effing garbage. You guys are all effing dumb, and it's effing insane. It's effing insane. Effing believe these effing creeps. Whatever, dog. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep getting booked. I'm probably going to start fighting again. I'm probably going to do a lot of other shit. Effing crushing it on OnlyFans because I've got a big effing you-know-what. And I'm nice as F, dude. Everybody, if you don't like me, unfollow. Go F yourselves. I don't give an F because at the end of the day, the cream effing rises to the top. And I'm really, really tired of trying to be nice to everybody because I hate to break it to you. Most of you guys are effing morons. Peace. Now, Riddle says he's received death threats about this whole situation. He, as I said, spoke about the reaction to all of this, and he went into it in this TMZ interview. He stated that he's received death threats over this ordeal. He added that people questioned how he could skip a charity event, and he reiterated that it was not a charity event. It was changed into one at the last minute. Quote, my girlfriend had an arrangement with this company, GWK, Global Wrestling Kingdom, and I'll be honest, dude, I see companies like this in the UK all the time. These guys rented an arena. They didn't sell 150 tickets. I'm not knocking them. They're trying to do their thing, But this is garbage, dude. And if they actually asked me for the money, which they didn't until later yesterday, and then I woke up this morning to a bunch of death threats, how dare you effing scam a charity? I'm like, dog, 4 months ago, this wasn't a charity event. 3 months ago, it wasn't a charity event. This week was the first time I got a message saying, what? You're going to do this to a charity event? I'm doing Make-A-Wish in a couple of weeks. I do charity events. Dude, I do multiple charity events, but I don't get paid a dime. But I'll tell you this, I'm not flying to London in a middle seat with no meal, with no check bag. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Dude, I don't even know how it's legal. Now, he carried on by confirming that he says he has given the deposit back. This is actually coming from GWK. Now, as I mentioned, this story came from Cultaholic in the first place. Riddle addressed all of this on Wednesday. Today, that being Thursday, GWK issued a statement saying Riddle gave his deposit back and giving their side of the story. Now, he said in an update, Mr. Riddle has now paid back his deposit and has given us his word that he will reimburse his expenses too. We have not made any public statement on this unfortunate situation, but we think it's important to set the record clear on Mr. Riddle's claims. His flights were booked and approved by his manager back in April. No issue was raised at the time. We originally planned to coincidence his appearance with some seminars, but his manager asked if we could share his weekend with a promoter in Paris who wanted to book him on the Saturday, which we agreed to. Unfortunately, they decided they couldn't work with him. We did make efforts to see if we could help him get booked elsewhere, but to no avail. We simply can't force promotions or gyms to work with him if they don't wish to. After months of chasing his manager for a promised promo hyping up the event, he eventually sent one the Wednesday prior to the show. We wished him a safe flight on Thursday but got no response. No issue of the flight was raised. We informed him the name of his driver on Friday morning but got no response. Again, no issue was raised regarding his flight, nor did he let us know that he was planning on not showing up. After his driver waited several hours at the airport for him, we asked him where he was but didn't get a reply back until Friday evening. Only then did he tell us he was unhappy with his flight and decided to take other bookings instead. We implored him to try and get a flight over as fans had paid to see him. He was reminded again that this was a charity event for survivors of bereavement by suicide and help for homeless veterans, which was announced on our social media pages back in July. We received no response from Mr. Riddle whatsoever until yesterday afternoon, 3 days after the event. In his many videos, he stated that his flights didn't include meals. Screenshots clearly show that 2 meals were included in his flight, and these screenshots were sent to him on Friday night. No seats were allocated because this is done once you check in online, which Mr. Riddle hadn't done. Any issues with luggage could have been quickly sorted out by a quick message or phone call. It is incredibly disappointing that this happened, but we would like to focus on the positive and heap massive praise on all the talent and fans who showed up on Sunday. All the fans and talent backstage were incredibly positive, and the reaction of the crowd when Grado's music hit nearly knocked us out of our chairs. Grado truly is the man. Now, let's move on and talk about AEW Dynamite's last night, and Kenny Omega was stretchered out. Kenny Omega was taken out by the Don Callis family on Dynamite. After Kyle Fletcher, Josh Alexander, and the Young Bucks were victorious in the main event over Hangman Page, Omega, and Jet Speed, they continued another attack for the Don Callis family. Fletcher laid out Hangman with a brainbuster on an open chair and looked to do more damage, but Omega himself managed to put himself across the champion. This continued on, Fletcher by turning his attention to Omega and hit him with a brainbuster off the apron and through a table on the outside. Kenny Omega was loaded up on a stretcher and then taken out of the arena. It is unknown if Omega is set to miss time off AEW television as a result. We saw the return of Riho last night on Dynamite. On the September 3rd edition of the show, Mercedes Moné was able to successfully defend her TBS championship against Alex Windsor in a back-and-forth battle. After the match, the fighting continued as Moné refused to shake Windsor's hand. Windsor jumped her from behind, but Moné eventually reversed things and locked Windsor in her statement-maker submission. Before things could get too bad for Alex Windsor, Riho hit the ring to a major reaction, taking out Moné with a double stomp. After taking in the wild reaction, Riho sent Moné out of the ring with a basement dropkick. Riho's return creates a major spark in the AEW Women's Division, as she hasn't wrestled in well over a year. To be specific, the former AEW Women's World Champion last wrestled on the July 6, 2024 edition of AEW Collision. Now, a match has been confirmed for the TBS Championship between the two, and it's going to be taking place at AEW All Out. On the September 3rd edition of Dynamite, as I mentioned, Monet defeated Alex Windsor, but Riho made her stunning return, attacking the TBS Champion. Now, later on the show, commentary announced that Riho will challenge Monet for the TBS Championship at AEW All Out. Now, Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, they'll also be in action at AEW All Out. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony have laid out the challenge for the upcoming pay-per-view. After weeks of back and forth, Ricochet and the Gates of Agony appeared on the September 3rd edition of AEW Dynamite and challenged the Hurt Syndicate, that being MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, to a trios match at AEW All Out. Specifically, Ricochet noted that he wasn't laying out a challenge, but rather a demand for a match. Later on in the show, MVP accepted the challenge in a backstage promo with the Hurt Syndicate, so that match is now confirmed for All Out. Hook, well, he had a bit of a confrontation with the Ops last night. The opening segment of AEW Dynamite featured a brawl between Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. Getting involved in the dust-up were the Death Riders, and coming to offset them were Hook, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Willow Nightingale. Joe and Hobbs ran past Hook to get involved in the action. It was the first time they've been seen on screen together since the Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing, when Hook assisted the team the Ops were on. When Hook went down with a concussion, Samoa Joe and Katsuyori Shibata welcomed Powerhouse Hobbs to the Ops. They went on to capture the AEW World Trios Championships. For the first time that was addressed, Hook walked up to Joe and Hobbs and said he could fight his own battles. He questioned how they didn't even wait a while to replace him. Joe stated that opportunities wait for no one, and they had to take a shot while the window was open. Joe confirmed that he made the call to add Hobbs to the group. He then added they'll always have Hook's back. Now, there was a lot of anticipation for this segment involving Taz last night on AEW Dynamite, and Tony Khan decided that it was being moved to social media at the request of the Human Suplex Machine. Now, originally, AEW was set to honor Taz on the September 3rd edition of AEW Dynamite, which is being hosted at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia as part of AEW's residency with the venue. Instead, Tony Khan went live with Taz on X just an hour before the show. In the 8-minute tribute video, the wrestling legend took a moment to reflect on being surprised by his induction into the 2300 Arena Hall of Fame. Taz then explained his request to have his tribute moved from the show, saying he wants the focus to be on the talent. For the remainder of the video, Taz and Tony Khan previewed and broke down the card for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. Taz once again requested that this be taken off TV because he didn't want any time to be taken away from the talent. Now, as I mentioned, this is what Taz said in this Tony Khan update. He said, quote, "As per my request, no need to have it on TV. We have a lot of current in-ring wrestlers that should get TV time. This isn't about me, it's 2025. I've been retired for years. I do not want or need anyone's TV time. Now, not how I'm wired." Now, in reply to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, who disagreed with Taz that the ceremony shouldn't be on TV, Taz wrote, quote, "So you're disagreeing with they would call my moment and how I prefer to have it done? Haha, come on. People watching programming much different than years ago. People can still see it. It's all online. I never want to take TV time from anyone that's still bumping or younger than me. That's just how I feel for a long time, and that ain't changing. No ego or insecurities from me." Now, the banner in the 2300 Arena honoring Taz has been hoisted, and it was seen last night on Dynamite. Darby Allin, he had a bit of a confrontation with Gabe Kidd and a body bag last night. The opening segment of the September 3rd edition of AEW Dynamite featured a brawl between Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. Kidd came out to the ring looking for Darby as Allin is seeking out members of the Death Riders on his road to getting at Jon Moxley. The brawl between Kidd and Darby brought 4 fellow members of the Death Riders. They were offset by the likes of Hook, Samoa Joe, Willow Nightingale, and Powerhouse Hobbs. The fight between Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd went outside of the venue. Allin ended up placing Kidd in a body bag. He attached the bag to the back of a truck and then drove off. The September to Remember poster has been revealed by All Elite Wrestling. Of course, this is an official event that's going to be taking place in 2 weeks on September 17th. This will be a 3-hour block of Dynamite and then a 1-hour AEW Collision that takes place prior to AEW All Out. Several matches have been confirmed for AEW Collision at the weekend. There's a huge singles contest with Mark Briscoe set to face off against the Don Callis family's Konosuke Takeshita. This match comes after Callis claimed that Briscoe would need to face another member of his group to earn a match with TNT champion Kyle Fletcher. Also, an 8-woman all-star tag team match will go down with Timeless Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa, Chris Statlander, and Harley Cameron facing off against the Triangle of Madness, that being Tekla, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and Megan Bayne. Furthermore, Adam Priest and a partner of his choosing will face off against the FTR duo of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. This match comes after Priest took a cheap shot at Harwood while attempting to pull apart their brawl with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. As previously announced, Jon Moxley would take on Daniel Garcia for the second time in recent weeks. Garcia will look to avoid his fourth singles loss against Moxley. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.